So what is your explanation? How can you tell me that the vaccine is safe and I know it causes autism? Or that the vaccine causes some other things, or they will say, but we also know that the vaccines contain fertility drugs, I mean. Some will even go to the cell and say, no, we know that the vaccine was injected with HIV to kill all of us. Yes. So I will die. They will ask you all these questions. And I'm sure that with your experience, you'll be able to answer. But I want to provide an accurate information for you, so that when you are providing that answer to them, you are also very well informed. Now, so let's take it one by one. The vaccine has no content other than the live measles virus and the live rubella virus in it. But this virus is weakened. What I mean by weakened is that it's like, for example, you have a lion. I'll always give this as an example. You have a lion, and you remove his claws, right? And you remove his canine teeth. It's still a lion, isn't it? Still with fear, right? But will he be able to do anything to you? So that's the same thing we have done with the vaccines, and that's why they call it live attenuated viruses. We've passed the vaccines through cell embryos several times, and it becomes weak. It does not contain that teeth again. It does not contain that claws again. So it is still the virus, but it cannot cause that disease because it needs that claws and that teeth to cause the disease, right? So we have weakened the virus, and that's exactly what is inside the content of the vaccines that you're going to ask people to take. Now, over time, people have said, when you make these contents, it contains mercurial substances, and we know mercurial substances that you guys add in it are supposed to preserve the vaccines, meaning give it more shelf life, right? Preserve, that's the meaning, right? I'm sure this one has a shelf life of like 2 months or 3 months. But if you add some antibiotics on this, the shelf life can be 6 months, or 2 years, or 3 years. So hitherto, we're using mercurial compounds because things like mercury, things like silver, things like gold, they have antibacterial properties. Heavy metals have antibacterial and antifungal properties. We know that. So we're using that, and we're preserving the vaccines. But they are such a minute quantity that is not even up to the one you are taking every day in your daily life. But then people now say, we know that mercurial substances also cause neurological damage. That is why these vaccines are the ones that are causing autism. Am I making some point here? People insinuate that. And we all know what autism is. If you don't know it, it's a social neuropsychological disorder. That's the way I would like to put it. Neuropsychological disorder where you find children behaving extremely, either too active or too quiet, are not able to interact socially, or they are over interacting in terms of their social engagement with others. And they say these abnormal behaviors is as a result of these mercurial substances that are inside these vaccines that will have damaged the children's brain, and that is what is causing the autism. The fault is not there as well for saying it, because it's one of our own doctors that actually published a series in Lancet in 1996 and said, look, I looked at 12 children, and in 12 children I found 9 children exhibiting, after taking vaccination, exhibiting signs of autism. But this is a series. This, by everything called science, you can't bring a series and generalize to the people. The moment you take a series and generalize to the people, then you have faulted your own science. So other doctors went in and said, okay, no problem, let's look at it carefully. Somebody has raised an alarm. As far as I'm concerned, also me here, is an alarm. But it's an alarm that calls for more studies. So let's look at other studies. Doctors, since that time, have looked at 650,000 children in Denmark and examined them for 5 years to see whether actually these ones, is it the vaccines that is causing them to have autism or not? And they found no correlation at all between the autism and the vaccinations that they received. So they published their own and they sent it to the editors of Lancet that published the first one to let them know. And the editors quickly retracted the first publications, and even the authors of the first publication were sanctioned. Please, if you check, so just keep updating. Thank you so much. So I have introduced the topic to you, the measles and rubella. So rubella has serious consequences just as much as measles has. Measles can cause deafness, it can cause blindness, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure you have seen children who have had measles end up being blind, or end up being deaf, or end up even being mentally subnormal. But for rubella, when it attacks children, hardly you notice it. When it attacks that pregnant mother, it goes after the unborn child. And in going after the unborn child comes out. Mother has delivered a baby that is blind. Mother has delivered a baby that is deaf. Mother has delivered a baby with a hole in the heart. And that's why we said, let's come and tell you people about this measles and rubella, because there is a government program that we are championing the advocacy for on behalf of the government and other partners to let everybody be aware of this rubella. Because what people are seeing all the time is measles. Behind every 10 cases of measles that you are seeing, one of them is actually rubella. And it is as highly infectious as measles is. And what I mean by very infectious is this, is that if, as we are seated here, if one of us has measles, and he coughs or sneezes, you know all of us will catch measles. Rubella is that very serious. So it's something that you can easily contract. We have a program in the country. I'm not going through the presentation because of the time, but you go through all the things I've said now. So what you have is this, is that you have an immunization program that is not able to address all the cases of measles. Otherwise, by now, we should have been free of measles. But because me and you have a duty to support that immunization program to reach every child. I won't say we have failed in our duty, but we have not done enough. Whatever we have done is only reaching 50% of the children. And with 50% of the children, then we will never be far away from the problem. The measles will continue to haunt us. Now, given the fact that whatever we record as cases of measles in Nigeria, and in Nigeria we record thousands of cases every year. We record in almost every LG an outbreak of measles every year. It means there are thousands of cases of rubella underneath that measles that we are recording every year in Nigeria. And I don't know, those of you who have been to the hospital or know a lot of people, I'm sure you will have seen mothers carrying their babies around. They say the child needs surgery. The child is just 9 months old, 1 year old, he still needs surgery. And he has to travel all the way to India to go and patch the hole in the heart. Government program has come with an effective vaccine, the same vaccines that you have for measles. We've added the rubella vaccine on top of it. So it's a combination vaccine now that can help to protect everybody against both the measles and the rubella if we all do very serious hard work. And the hard work is this, sir. If we don't get 95 out of 100 of us vaccinated, that is 95%, we are still coming back to it.
Serious.
It's very serious. And the seriousness of this matter lies in the fact that we said, let's constitute ourselves into a coalition group and reach out to everybody that matters, so that they are aware of this problem, so that we can garner their support and they can help mobilize the population. so that the population can uptake of this benefit that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to mankind. Because it's not we that gave it to us. He is the one that showed us that vaccination can be protective. The vaccine is very safe, sir. As safe as the measles vaccine is. It's almost indistinguishable from the measles vaccines that you have. You have NAFDAC behind us, rallying around to make sure that all the infrastructure that is needed to keep the vaccine potent is made available for everybody. So come October 2025, the government in its wisdom has decided that we are going to provide this benefit to Nigerians. And we are going to provide it to Nigerians irrespective of where they are or where they come from. Everybody will be entitled to get that protection. And government is looking at population of 9 months to 15 years of age, so that we can get that 95% that is needed to protect the other people that will not be protected. Now, let me explain this population protection that we are talking about. You see, when 50% of us are protected.
Dr. Mahmood and everyone present here, you've had Dr. Mahmood. I have a very easy task. My task is to make a request. And I'm not making the request on behalf of myself, the Lama Bukuje. I'm making it on behalf of all the children, the mothers in this country. You have a role. I have done mine, and I'll continue to do mine. I came out of retirement to carry this jihad. I always call anything I do as a Muslim, education for me is jihad. My jihad is not making trouble, it's to educate people and give them informed information. Well, with the Christians yesterday, and we asked them, you do crusade, you continue with the crusade about information and educating people. It will be a better place. So my request one, it's that NASFAT should please make sure this message, we're going to put it on the message for you, is heard far and wide, so that every mother that attends your mosque or knows you will take an informed decision. If we keep this message to ourselves, we will be asked by the Almighty God. I like the sermon of Iman today. Was something that was very down to earth, not complicated for my small brain. You can also provide messages to people about their health. If you look at the page on the measles outbreak, and one is rubella. I worked in pediatrics unit before I retired. It's sad when the mother comes to me and says she did this, the child cannot see. They are the first people to tell you that when they did this, the child did not blink. You know, there's trouble. Who wants to be surgery with a blind child? It's very difficult. I have a friend that is blind. When she's coming to see me, I don't know why those two states have decided. But you see, one thing Osun and Oyo has in common with Northwest and Northeast, it's Islam. I'm not missing my wife. I've gone to NASFAT University there. I was there when it was open. So we need to do more on educating our people. We must never be tired of talking to them. We must keep talking until they understand basic things about health. So I've said 3 things. Is it 3? I've made my request.
The message, the commitment,
and the webinar that they are going to have. So, and I've instilled my commitment. And the Salah one, I know Imam will take it up to make sure that message is wide and clear, and not just for Salah. My mother tells me, if you keep repeating something, that's the only way people understand. She said, not once, you keep repeating, but she keeps repeating some things to us. I told her I'm a daughter of a teacher. She likes repeating things, and my children calls me quality assurance. So we hope with these 3 requests, did I forget any request? Yeah? So I have gotten the commitment, and that everybody in this room too will join us in this jihad to make sure we reduce the mortality and morbidity that surrounds measles. And I told you, Elijah, for me, if you see me talking, people that knows me, anything that is this equity for me, I shiver from it. Other people that can afford it at 95,000, they've been taking it in the private hospital. How many Nigerians can afford 95,000? So we all need to stand up for the poor, the underprivileged, the vulnerable Nigerians, to make sure they hear it anywhere so that they can. Our role is to pass the information. Theirs is to take a decision. And I rest my case. I thank you very much. I have a deaf friend that sometimes I don't even want her to come back. We have to be communicating. If she's coming to see me, she's about 45 now or 50. She cannot communicate. She went one day to the hospital, she was telling me, and they were calling her name. So when the hospital finished, she didn't hear, you know they call numbers for antenatal. So she didn't hear her number, she was waiting. And that was the time that I made up my mind that we needed sign language interpreters in the hospital, because she told me she was waiting, and when they finished, she called the person. She didn't hear. They said they've been calling you, you were seated. So we all can appreciate those who are deaf, blind. Don't talk about the hole in the heart. The mothers, the father, it affects the mother, it affects the father, because the father has to look for the money. It's very stressful for the family. So we all need to take a stand as an Ummah. Which Ummah is more affected by every disease? It is my Ummah, your Ummah. Every disease, look at your map, it's our Ummah. We really have to take a stand and educate them on the issue of health immunization. It is free. In the hospitals, the rich take it for 95,000. And anybody that knows me, I believe in equity. I don't believe in equality. Equity is a word that guides me in life. When you don't practice equity, I frown at you. And for me, part of my equity is to inform people to take a decision. So I'd like a commitment that NASFAT will pass that message clear and wide. Pass the first one.
Nothing.
Good, thank you very much. The second one is that we have written to you, we wanted to have a webinar with the women. Why am I choosing women? People are tired of me. I keep saying we waste a lot of money educating men to pass information. Yes, I will say it confidently. I think Jafar was taking me up for it. I said the role of men is to give us the permission. But if you educate a woman, you've educated the whole house. One question I asked him that, have you ever told your wife what happened? But the minute your wife comes back from somewhere, her mouth, beep, she's telling everybody, she called the neighbors in. So we wrote to you, it's a webinar I'll have with the whole Amira. I told Ajia Nefi, and she told me to write that letter. We'd like to educate them more about this webinar, because I believe that they will pass the information even to you. Your wife, if I've told your wife this information, you won't rest today in the house, sir. She will tell you, but I'm not sure whether you will pass the message to her. Yes. So we want to have that webinar. Also, there's a health committee on NASFAT. I hope they'll join the webinar too, so that it's not once. We need to routinize immunization. If you look at the page on disease in Nigeria, which page? Don't get to look at the page. I take my time. I'm the daughter of a teacher, proudly.
Proudly the daughter of a teacher.
Yeah,
there are the slides there. That's Nigerian map showing you where.
Where do we have the problem now? It's across the.
No, I mean you can see where it's more red.
I think it's late one.
No.
Really?
This one,
Sir,
okay.
you can use mine when you finish.
I'm okay like this.
Okay.
But for where it's more red,
All red there now.
they're all red, but you are seeing now.
One is better than the others.
This one.
Very good. The one in front of you, sir.
This one is speak.